Hello, my name is Margaret Adelle, and this is my TBR Challenge check-in. At the beginning of this year, I decided on a whim to try and figure out how many owned books I had on my TBR. And after logging everything, all of the books I'd forgotten to put on my Goodreads page before, all of the books I'd been given for Christmas, I came to 460. That's a lot. Maybe not a lot for booktubers, but in general, I was not happy with how high that number was, so I decided that it was time to do a Lower the TBR challenge. And surprisingly, considering the fact that it's July, I haven't given up on it yet. Well, entirely. We'll get into it. So, I have done TBR challenges in the past, but I usually dropped them somewhere around March or April, mostly because previously I didn't give myself a lot of wiggle room in them. Before, when I tried this, I told myself that I could not get, and by get that means any form of buying, borrowing, going to the library, etc., any books until I'd read 3 that I already owned. But that 3 was kind of tripping me up. However, previously, I also didn't include unhauling in the challenge. So this time, I said, okay, 1, we're going to drop the number that I have to get to get a new book. So now it's only 2 books that I already own. But also, to take up one of those 2 slots, I can also unhaul 5 books. Now, that might seem like a big number to unhaul what would effectively be 10 books to get 1 new one. However, I had a kind of nasty habit back in the day of constantly downloading every free ebook I could ever find ever, even if I was only kind of interested in it. And while that has netted me some new faves, more often than not, it left my e-reader apps cramped with things that I didn't really care about. And as a result, I had e-reader apps that were just chock full of random ebooks from years ago that I forgot I had. On top of that, I love shopping at used bookstores and would get a ton of used books. Again, ones that I was only marginally interested in, but they were only $2 to $3, so why not? So I had shelves that were full of all of these secondhand paperbacks that I also forgot I had. So it took a lot of unhauling to get to where I am today. Now, in January, I focused so much on unhauling. I think in one stretch, I literally unhauled 100 books in a day, mostly those old ebooks. I am currently sitting around 230, and my goal for the year is to get under 200. I feel like that is a fairly decent goal to have, a fairly achievable goal, and it has gotten harder. For example, over the month of April, I actually had to drop the challenge for that month because I was so close to a reading slump. So I had to focus on whatever books that sounded interesting, even if that included getting new books, just to make sure I was still reading. And it actually did work. It was a little tricky getting back on track in May, but I managed it and I've been on track ever since. Although those 5 books to unhaul for a slot have come in real handy. And in general, going through all of my books so often and repeatedly has reminded me of the books I have. I've also kind of had to force myself to really ask the tough questions of, do I actually want to read this book, or do I want to be the kind of person that wants to read this book? Because if I'm being honest with myself, I don't like the hard, edgy sci-fi. I like the kitschy camp sci-fi. So I had all these hard military sci-fis in my ebook apps, and I'm like, gotta be honest, I'm not gonna read these. I also had so many Highlander romances. It also was a sign of how much my tastes have changed. Books that I likely got because I would have been interested in that genre or those tropes no longer interest me, and so they all went bye-bye. Most of them went, obviously if they were ebooks, they were just deleted, and if they were physical books, they were donated, or not donated, kind of donated. You can give books for credit, store credit, at this local used bookstore that I go to. So I have so much credit at that store now. I think I might have easily $50. It's a lot. But regardless, I'm really enjoying this journey. I'm really enjoying how thoughtful it's made me about what I take in to read. The only difference is that my review books, the review books I'm given by the author, usually indie authors, are separate from the challenge. That means that both I do not have to wait for a slot to be open to read one, but also it means that reading one does not earn me a new slot. So that's been a little bit tricky. I might have to find a way in the future to like re-incentivize myself to read more indie books. I'm trying to revise this for 2023. I'm going to keep going until I find the ultimate perfect lower the TBR challenge for me. But also, it's made me a lot more thoughtful on the new books that I get. I've taken a lot more to focusing on authors that I've read before and loved. I've taken to focusing on series that I'm already working on, and basically taking in books that are, you know, a specific page length or with tropes, or that very specifically do not have certain tropes, and I'm reading reviews more often. Not that I like was totally ignoring them before, but it's a lot more of a am I willing to take up my last free slot for this book type of thing. So in general, I do feel like it's made me more thoughtful. I will be happy if I can get it under to 200 pages by the end of this year. I will probably be continuing it in some form in 2023. I think the end goal, I think my absolute like far in the future dream goal for my TBR would be to get it under 50 books, to literally only have 50 unread books on my shelves. And right now, that low-key seems impossible, especially for a booktuber, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try this and see if it works. So if you have any kind of lower the TBR challenge, or you've tried any challenges before, let me know. I am also working on the Pop Sugar challenge. I've never been one of those before in all the years that I've tried it. However, this is the closest I've gotten this year, so maybe this is just the year for me doing well in challenges. I don't know. Fingers crossed that it continues. But if you've done any challenges, let me know. I would love to hear about them. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.